Hello, Leo. Welcome to your April 2023 astrology reading. So the beginning of April, we didn't have too much going on. We had Mercury coming into Taurus. We had a full moon in Libra, but all the big stuff is going to be happening near the end of the month, okay? One thing to keep in mind before I get into any of the smaller things, kind of an overarching or an umbrella transit that's sort of going on impacting everything, is the fact that Pluto right here is starting to slow down. He officially retrogrades on May 1st. So as we get to, the middle of April and move toward the end of April, that last half of the month, Pluto is starting to basically come to a stop. And you're going to certainly feel that as this is happening on your 7th house cusp. All the fixed signs are really going to be feeling this. It's going to have somewhat of an inertia effect where maybe there was one area of your life or something was changing or evolving, or there was a lot of speed or focus on some kind of a relationship. And now Pluto retrogrades, and all of a sudden you have to kind of go back or revise or check in with yourself and do some kind of a personal evolution for the sake of the future of that relationship. Now, this does not have to be romantic. It could be professional or whatever, but there is going to need to be a personal evolution or a personal change, and your partners are going to need to do that as well. And as you evolve and your partner evolves, together, the relationship is also evolving. So I think there's just a lot of moving pieces for Leo right now. There's a lot that's up in the air, a lot of potentials and possibilities. And I think you're actually going to gain some clarity with this Mercury retrograde that's going on here. All right, so let's talk about Mercury and then we'll talk about the moon. So Mercury entered Taurus at the beginning of the month, and now he is officially in his pre-shadow phase. He retrogrades on the 21st. So between now and the 21st. Between now and the 21st, he is going to be slowing down. But he's slowing down in between some pretty volatile entities, okay? The North Node and Uranus. He is going to come to the 15th, I'm so sorry. He is going to come to the 15th degree of Taurus, which means he's going to be really close to Uranus. It's not an exact conjunction, meaning he's not going to be right on top of Uranus, but he's certainly within that field of influence. And it's actually probably going to be more intense than if he did actually come into a full conjunction. I often feel that the build-up, 5 degrees, 4 degrees, 3 degrees, are often a lot more intense than the actual conjunction itself. So this Mercury stopping just a couple of degrees away from Uranus is going to be felt. This does have a lot to do with your path in life, Leo. There's likely, Taurus season over the last year and then also this year, Taurus season is doing a really good job at showing us where we are stagnant and stuck, showing us where we are stubborn, showing us where we are unable to budge or to evolve. And Mercury is here to give us some kind of brilliant insight or brilliant idea or piece of advice or a completely new perspective or new way of looking at something so that we actually can make these changes. If we keep going the way we've been going, it's not to say we can't have success or we can't reap the financial rewards or whatever. It's that the fulfillment might not necessarily be there. I think Leo right now is looking for something a little bit novel, something different, something challenging, something to stimulate them intellectually, especially as we have Venus coming into Gemini as of the 11th, so just a couple of days from now. Venus comes into the 11th and absolutely places a high value on that intellectual stimulation. It's going to be a good time for you to surround yourself with high quality individuals with high quality mindsets, all right? People that look toward the future, that are innovative, inventive, people who work hard, and people who share the values that you hold. I don't think Leo should be in any way, shape, or form dumbing it down in terms of their contacts and connections. With Pluto doing his retrograde in the 7th, and I know that we don't ever talk about friendship as the 7th because that's always thrown into the 11th, but 7th really is a one-on-one relationship, and I have seen a lot of platonic relationships come through there, weirdly enough. Really important best friend type of stuff. And there may be someone of relevance who's not a romantic partner that you love and care about deeply, but that also does not match that top tier that you're seeking to get to. And it's not that they are a bad person or that you are abandoning them or anything. It's just that spending your time with a person that's keeping you anchored is preventing you from setting sail. And right now, with this eclipse building up in the 9th house, Leo wants to set sail. Leo does not want to be like stuck at the dock, and stuck in a place where they can't move. Leo needs wiggle room right now. Leo needs space. They need room to breathe and to roam free. And if there's anything that feels suffocating for them, chances are they're just not going to be able to really show up in any way, shape, or form. All right. There are going to be certain things on the chopping block for Leo. Now, as this moon builds up, okay, now obviously the moon is waning, meaning we had the full moon in Libra on the 6th, and now the moon is getting darker. But it's not just, this is not a typical waning cycle, okay? We are building up to a new moon, total solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Aries. So as the sun, the moon, and the earth come into this perfect alignment here, this waning cycle is actually intensifying in energy. And then after the eclipse on the 19th, the moon is going to be building up to its full moon eclipse, which is happening at 14 degrees of Scorpio. That's happening in May, so we'll talk more about it next month. But just know that we don't really get a lunar break, if you will. That lunar energy, that deep emotional stuff, that subconscious stuff that needs to come out and rectify itself, it's coming out. And this is going to mean making certain decisions and making certain choices for the betterment of your contribution to humanity. All right. Uranus is a big planet when it comes to humanity, and we are taking into account our contributions here. We're taking into account the actions that we're taking and what we're building and what we're pumping out there and its impact. And some people are wanting to make a greater impact. They're wanting to reach more people. They're wanting to, be more effective. And Mercury, his retrograde, is very much about figuring out how to do that. And once we figure out how to do that, and I think around the full moon in Scorpio on May 5th, this is when we're actually going to start doing it. Okay, as the moon makes its way through Taurus. Taurus is a really industrial sign and it wants to get its hands dirty. So this is the time when it's not just about thinking about it. It's not about dreaming. It's not about strategizing. It's about implementation. So there's kind of a nice shift here where it's the idea comes, you see the plan, it's all very clear and you can do it. And it seems like this really seamless process. But please do not be distracted if certain things go haywire. Okay, let's talk about the dates here for a second. The eclipse on April 19th is immediately followed by that Mercury retrograde. So we have the Mercury retrograde. Basically, Mercury is standing still right next to Uranus while we're having this eclipse, while Venus is in Gemini, while this eclipse is happening in Mars-ruled Aries, and Mars is currently in Cancer, which is Mars' fall position. So this eclipse has a lot of markers for unpredictability, a lot of disruption, a lot of confusion, and maybe even some destruction, okay? And yes, there could be heated egos and heated passions and heated self-expression during this time. You've got something to say, they've got something to say. You know, Leo doesn't have to experience retrogrades, right? Like, for example, Gemini and Virgo get their Mercury retrograde. Pisces and Sag get their Jupiter, right? Capricorn and Aquarius get their Saturn. And we can use the outer planets too. But Cancer and Leo don't get retrogrades because the sun and moon never retrograde. You guys get eclipses. So this is especially relevant for Cancers and Leos because this is your ruling planet stuff. This is your celestial event. So, you know, it is kind of, it's heated. It's in a fire sign. It's going to heat that fire up. It's in Mars, you know, so there's just a lot of desire to push forward, to expand, and to make something happen. And anything that is preventing you from doing that, it's got to go. And yeah, Leo might be on the rampage a little bit, but that might be a good thing because Leo, as a fixed sign, sometimes it can be hard for you to let go. As a loyal sign, it can be hard for you to let go. And sometimes you just need these extra little pushes to say, you know what, I can't spend time with you. I really can't show up the way I've been showing up. I really need to be putting emphasis and priority over here and, you know, and not feeling guilty or ashamed for that in any way, shape, or form. I do believe there are, well, Saturn in the 8th. This is a time of pretty significant evolution for Leo. But the hard thing about Saturn in the 8th is if you try to keep something intact. If you try to hold on and you try to keep something and you try to like lock it in a time capsule, it's going to make things so much harder. So the more Leo can embrace evolution, embrace the current of their lives, the easier all of this is going to go. Okay? All right, Leo. I guess I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much. You guys know how much I love and adore you. Have an amazing April, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.